testicular cancer is one of the highest cancers in young men, 30 some years old. They can examine themselves or have a partner do it. And then these other various tests, ultrasounds, thyroid ultrasound, liver ultrasounds. We're more advanced with those tools.
Can the blood test all of that?
Depends on the kind, and depends on the kind of cancer.
Okay.
But it's I think right now the Grail test, I think it's 68 different cancers, 50 or mid 60 different cancers.
How many are there?
I couldn't even tell you.
Wow. Is it true it's hereditary or?
No, not
Okay.
necessarily, not at all. Again, for a military operative community, they have exposures like Agent Orange. There are all kinds of various exposures that help facilitate DNA damage.
Are there cancer preventatives other than the screenings?
Yes.
Like what?
Diet and lifestyle. Do you know that obesity is one of the largest known risk factor for cancer?
I didn't know that. What about sugar?
I would say that it's not.
It's not.
No.
Okay.
So we have to think about it. What is cancer? Cancer is a mutation in the genome. There are various types, and I'm not a cancer expert by any means, but it's some derangement that the body cannot overcome. Could there be one insult? For example, smoking. We know that the relative risk of smoking and cancer is tremendous. But would a single dietary food cause cancer, like sugar or red meat? No. We have to look at the complexity of what we do on a daily basis.
And cancer on the whole. Well, you sent that video to us. What is it particularly that you want to point out there?
So I want to address, well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, all of our viewers. What I want to address is what was mentioned with regards to prevention. All right. So what was mentioned is diet and lifestyle are some of the great factors in preventing cancer, your diet and lifestyle. And of course, when it comes to risk for cancer, as she rightly mentioned there, obesity is a big factor. But then there was something else that was mentioned. It was mentioned that sugar is not a contributing factor to cancer.
Right.
All right. And that's where I have the problem, because also that what was mentioned was smoking being a risk factor to cancer. Something else that's a risk factor to cancer is alcohol as well. Now, let's keep in mind things like alcohol. Alcohol is fermented sugar, right? And there is something called, because last year, remember, I looked into the topic of glycation.
Right.
Right? And glycation is caused by sugar, which causes advanced glycation end products. And that can cause mutations to your genes that causes cancer.
Okay.
So to say that sugar can cause cancer is a big issue. So first, let me share my screen so that we can take a look at the updated definition for cancer. So of course, National Library of Medicine, PubMed. Let's scroll down. I just want to get down to the bottom of it so you can see the definition here. It says cancer is a disease of uncontrolled proliferation by transformed cells subject to evolution by natural selection. If you go up a little bit, it mentioned here the subject to evolution by natural selection modernizes the definition to include the genetic and epigenetic changes that accumulate within a population of cancer cells that lead to lethal phenotypes. So it shows that cancer cells has to do with mutation of your genes. Right? Now, what is the role of advanced glycation end products? I want to just show it from, again, PubMed, National Library of Medicine. Last year, December, I looked at advanced glycation end products. I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I looked at RAGE. All right. So let's see what it says here. It says impaired awareness of glycation biology in cancer initiation and progression is one of the fundamental reasons for its meticulous investigation of the molecules involved in signaling pathways. Glycation of biological macromolecules results in the progression of advanced glycation end products that proliferates the process of carcinogenesis by activation of transcription factors and release of cytokines. In other words, what they're simply saying is glycation directly causes cancer. So to say that sugar is not involved because glycation could only be caused by sugar.
By sugar.
In fact, when we looked at the HbA1c test, all right, that was about, I showed and explained that HbA1c test is also known as glycated hemoglobin test because it is measuring the amount of what you call it, hemoglobin in your red blood cells that is coated with sugar. That's called glycation. So to say that glycation, especially, and this is something that, because the woman in the video is a doctor, and this is something that doctors would say. All right, let me just end closing the sharing the screen here. This is something that doctors would tell you. No, sugar is not involved in cancer. And then you would hear a lot of people who have been diagnosed with cancer, they're told, no, you can eat anything. Because remember last week I was showing how the system is hijacked due to the Flexner report. The Flexner report is where the hijacking of modern medicine came about in order to push and promote medication. Medicate. So a lot of people are taken away. A lot of doctors, due to the foundation of their schooling being very shaky, they don't have the right information. This is why I shared the screen to show this is actual documented science, that sugar does cause mutation of cells that causes cancer. For one to say that obesity is one of the biggest contributing factors to cancer, the main cause of obesity is excess sugar consumption, and that is known.
Right.
This is known facts. So how is it sugar is not a factor when it comes to cancer? Right? How is it sugar is not a factor? Sugar is a major, if not the major contributor to cancer.
Well, I mean,
smoking.
I have spoken to you, and of course, you know, there are others on the program as well on different days. And I mean, everybody has always said that sugar, when asked about cancer, sugar always comes up.
Always. Maybe not everybody goes into anything in depth with regards to the connection to sugar and glycation and showing the direct relation to that and mutation of your DNA and RNA.
Right.
But that is how sugar causes cancer, right? And cancer, a lot of things come together in order for cancer to take place. Yes, but sugar is one of the major factors. Here is something. We know that smoking can cause cancer.
Right.
Do people know that smoking also causes glycation? Because you are inhaling glycation, right? Because what people don't know, the burning of tobacco and cannabis, marijuana, causes instant glycation because there is sugar in tobacco and marijuana.
Okay.
Right? So that burning of it, because if you understand what glycation is, it has to do with heat and sugar. Heat and sugar is not a good combination. That causes glycation, which results in advanced glycation end products. This is why stewing things, right? You know, we like to brown foods.
Yeah.
That's called the Miller's effect. That causes instant glycation. So when people are barbecuing and putting all these sugary sauces and the fire is hitting it, instant glycation. And you're consuming that. So people are setting up themselves because they're unaware of these things, these factors. That is why I tell people need to come and see me, right? To understand the factors involved in health, how your nutrition plays a direct link, a direct connection with regards to the pathogenesis of diseases, all right? So, you know, a lot of people do not know the full spectrum of sugar, and this is why they would make statements like these. And I really and truly don't care if somebody is a doctor or scientist or whoever. Plenty people are uninformed,
Well,
regardless of your profession.
Interesting, and a few seconds we have left. Interesting that she said just before she made the statement, she said, I'm no expert in cancer.
And that's why when I hear people say, so that is where she should have stopped.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I am no expert in it, and stop there.
Yeah.
Stop there, because a lot of people are going to get the wrong idea.
Yeah.
And going and consume sugar and say, well, I'm not at risk for cancer. I might be at risk for obesity, so let me just go and exercise.
Yeah.
And burn out those extra calories. Not knowing there are other things taking place on a molecular and genetic level.
Right.
Right?
So,
and that's where the problem comes in.
All right. So people, you can check out Set Viral about. You can get more information. It's very easy. 761-1952. That is 761-1952. You could call him and book an appointment and get a consultation today. Or you could WhatsApp him on 279-3935. That is 279-3935. Make sure, check him out. Seth, thanks a lot for the time this morning, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Okay.
So